Don't have a tripod for your laser level? Make a shallow slit into the drywall and place the angle grinder disc into the slot. Then set your level on top. We need our pipes fully insulated, including the elbow pipe. We'll simply cut both ends of the insulation at a 45-degree angle using a utility knife. Here's an interesting way to solder the ends of wires. First, we'll take out the soldering tip and replace it with a bolt and a bracket. We can stabilize our soldering iron. Now we can melt the solder into the bracket and then dip our wires into the solder directly. We can twist wires together nice and evenly by attaching a wooden dowel into a socket bit and then stick the wire into the wooden dowel. Secure the wires with pliers and drill. Cleaning the grout between tiles can be tedious. Here's an easy way to speed up the process. Cut off the head of a brush and drill a screw into its center. Tighten the screw into the chuck, and now the drill can do the scrubbing for us. If your jigsaw blade is dull, we can give it another use. Grind off the teeth with an angle grinder and then sharpen the edge like a knife. Attach it to a jigsaw, and now it can be used to cut cleanly through thick foam boards. The staple gun is a great and useful tool to have on the job, but ours happened to run out of staples a bit earlier than expected. That's okay. We can use an office stapler instead. We can use a rubber mallet to help fully drive the staples into the wood. Here's one way you can sharpen your pencil a bit faster, just using the help of a drill. Here we're going to use a wood clamp to help us mark parallel lines to the edge of the board. Unscrew the top and use the hole to make your mark. Next up is a DIY torque washer. Make 2 parallel incisions about halfway through both sides of a wide washer. Use a plier to bend the tines 90 degrees and then weld a nut onto the top of the washer. We can install it by hammering it in on one side and then securing it fully by screwing it in with a bolt. This is especially useful for building furniture. This water handle is broken. We can make a new handle using a cord on each side of the cord. Put each loop through the opposite loop, one under and one over, like so. Place the loop over the water bottle and pull it snug. Now we have an easy way to carry our water bottles. Anyone who's worked with wood knows that sanding can take a long time. Today, we'll try to speed up the process by making a sanding drum. By hot gluing a bolt to the center of this wooden dowel. Then we'll make a deep incision through the center of the dowel, and next we'll slide sandpaper into the incision, wrap it around, and glue the sandpaper onto itself. Now we have a sanding drum for all of our projects. Next, we're going to be making a homemade coffee grinder. We'll need 3 snap-off blades, snapped off to the correct size, an extra long bolt, and 4 nuts. Tighten the nuts to the end of the bolt with the blades in between. Make sure it's securely fastened so the blades stay put. Drill a hole into the center of the lid. Twist a nut to the center of the bolt and drop the washer on top of it. Place the lid over the washer and then another washer on top of the lid. Secure the whole thing with the final nut. Tighten the lid to the jar to make sure that the bolts can twist freely without any wobble. All that's left is to fill the jar with coffee beans and attach the bolt to the chuck and drill. Now we can brew a fresh cup of coffee to get our day started. Lastly, we'll be doing a bit of arts and crafts by making a simple decoration. Start by wrapping this wire tightly around this PVC pipe, then pulling it apart for the right shape. We'll bend the top into a little hook. Next, we'll hot glue a steel ball into the middle of our spring and let it dry. We'll tie a piece of string to the top end of the ornament. Let's recycle this old plastic container to use as a shield on our bench grinder. We'll put a bracket on one end like so. Now we have protection from sparks. We can make some slits into this plastic tubing and then attach it to a bolt to make a temporary drywall anchor. Now just an extra washer to make it more secure. Our next project is going to be a tool that helps us carve out hex nut indentations. We'll attach it to a bolt like so that it looks like this. Now we can trace out our hex nut and use our tool like a chisel and hammer it into the wood. Now everything fits perfectly. We want to remove this knot from this board. Drill it out and then use a hole saw to cut out a round that's the same size as the hole that we drilled. Fill this hole with glue and insert the round. In this case, we're using a chisel and then a planer to level the surface. Let's create a tool that helps us easily cut out grooves in our foam panels. We'll drill these two pieces of wood together to make a right angle. Then we'll mount a snap blade to both sides of the tool. Now we can cut out a groove, which prevents a gap between these foam panels. Now we'll be building a bottle opener with a magnet inside out of this log. We'll cut out a plank like so, and then we'll trace where we want the magnet to be. Then using a drill and chisels, we can carve out a hole big enough for the magnet. We'll take apart this clamp and use the metal piece as our can opener. We'll attach it to the side opposite the magnet. Then add a bit of varnish. And now when we open our bottles, the caps stick to the board instead of falling onto the floor. We can cut out a strip of metal from this old can and use it to help us tear off pieces of tape. We'll be printing on a pre-printed image onto this log. We'll want to sand it first, and then we'll cut out the image and glue it onto the log. After soaking in water, we can peel off the plastic adhesive. And what's left on the log is our image. We can use this piece of wood from an old piece of furniture and turn it into a charging stand for our phone. We'll trace out the appropriate size and use a jigsaw to cut it out. Then, a bit of sanding paper to smooth off the edges. We'll use a washer to mark out where we'll cut the 3 holes. The 2 on the ends will be smaller, and the center hole will be larger. We'll install bolts into the smaller holes. These will act as stands. Now we can pass our charger through the center hole to charge our phone. This large plastic bottle will make a really convenient garbage can. We'll mark out most of the top, but leaving a little strip with the cap. It should look like this. Now we can attach it to the cabinet door underneath the sink to easily discard any scraps. If we remove the handle from this large plastic bottle, we can bend the tabs like so. This gives us a quick and easy phone stand. The blades on this grater are getting a little bit dull. To sharpen them, we can use the bottom of this ceramic cup. Good as new. We can also use the bottom of this mug to sharpen any ordinary knives as well. We need to pass some wire through this plastic tubing, and pushing it wouldn't be the best option. What we can do instead is cut out a little circle of foam that's about the same size as the tubing. We'll then pass a string through the center of the foam and fasten it with a knot. Now we'll use the vacuum to suck up the string until it passes all the way through the plastic tubing. As you can see, it's come out the other side. But we're not done. We want to pass the wire through the tubing, not just the string. We'll tie the string to one of the wires securely. Folding a single wire back on itself, and then wrapping everything with tape will ensure that the string doesn't slip off. Now we'll pull the string from the other end to pass it through the tubing. Once it's passed all the way through, we'll cut off any excess wire and tie a simple overhand knot to make sure that the wire doesn't slip back into the tubing. Here's a quick and easy life hack to help you tie your shoes if you're in a hurry. Here we have an ordinary coat hanger. If we cut the bottom rung in half, we can use this coat hanger to hang paper towels and toilet paper. Next, we have an ordinary piece of scrap wood. We can use our jigsaw to cut it into the shape of the letter P. Then we'll hammer a nail onto the top. And we can use our new tool to help us open cans more easily. If you need to remove a nail that's lost its head, try using a pair of pliers for extra grip. Our next project will be building a mousetrap. Don't worry, this one isn't dangerous. Start by cutting out a board that's the same width as the bottle. We'll want to find the balance point on this bottle, and make 2 marks on both sides and drill holes where the marks are. We'll attach support beams to both sides of our board. Line everything up and drill 2 holes at the same level onto the beams. Screw in 2 bolts on both beams and put the bolts through the holes of the bottle. Tighten the bolts. The bottle should rock back and forth like so. Now we'll cut out a little ramp. All that's left to do is leave some treats inside the bottle. And our last project of this episode is going to be a bird feeder. We'll connect 2 plastic bottles together. We'll just need to make a couple of holes in the bottles for the bird seeds. We can also attach a popsicle stick to give the birds a place to land. Now we'll just fill the bottles with bird seeds.